Hello, writers, and welcome back to Spooky Writes, your channel all about writing. I'm your host, who is secretly a ghost, Kamal Onor. Have you ever wondered if there's a difference between craft and content, and which do you believe is more important? Well, that's what we're talking all about today on Spooky Writes, so make sure to hit the thumbs up button, give this video a good like, help spread the channel, and with that said, let's head into the storm.
It's the raven's call, the werewolf's howl, the vampire's bite. You search through the woods for safety, but all you find is... Okay, rights.
So at first glance, craft and content might feel like they are on opposite ends of each other, when in fact I believe that they are both important to different degrees. It also depends on which way you are viewing a piece of work. Whether if you are a reader of something, content is going to be significantly more important, because content is going to be that thing that attracts the reader to pick up a book, to pick up something that they are interested in. For example, a coming of age book might be interesting, might be something that a young adult reader might pick up, whereas someone like myself, I probably wouldn't pick up a book that's designed for young adult readers, that's a coming of age story, because I'm already grown up. I've already sort of come of age, and I am old. So what that means is that type of content isn't going to appeal to me. Certain books are written for certain audiences, and so content is important especially when you are submitting work to magazines, to publishers. You need to make sure that your content aligns with what that publisher is looking for. If you've written a romance novel, it doesn't make sense to submit your work to a publisher that states that they only are looking for horror fiction, or that they're only looking for high concept fantasy fiction or high concept science fiction. So in terms of content and whether or not your content matters, content is going to matter much more when looking in the lens of what a publisher is looking for, and that initial attraction of work for a reader, for someone who is seeking out work that they've read in the past. Maybe a reader says, I really enjoyed reading these fantasy fiction books. I really read this book. And if you have an idea of if your content aligns with the work that they have read previously, it's going to be something that's going to be much more attractive to that person initially. But once you have that level of attraction, once you have the shiny object of this thing is interesting, this is a piece of content that intrigues me, you then have to follow it up with great craft. And so craft is also important. So I don't believe that they are on opposite ends of the spectrum. I don't believe that you should completely ignore craft. I also don't believe that you should completely ignore content, because content is going to be a key indicator of attracting readers to your work initially. It's also going to make sure that you are aligning your work well with a potential publisher, with a potential market that you are trying to get into. Whereas craft is when you start to back up your ability to write. So by craft, this means that you actually have to have good prose. You have to have writing that is intriguing, and writing that shows and doesn't necessarily club the reader over the head. You have to have intriguing prose. You have to have well-written stories. You can't have stories that are all content. And you also can't do it the other way around, because if you have a novel that's focused on the day-to-day life of an accountant and nothing actually happens, there is no content in that story, it doesn't matter how well written the day-to-day of Bob the accountant filing taxes or doing whatever accountants do. I don't know what accountants do, but I imagine it's not very interesting. So content is important, but craft is also equally important, because again, content is going to be that thing that someone's going to be initially attracted to. It's going to be the picture on the cover. It's going to be that thing that's going to get a reader intrigued and a reader to pick up your work initially. But then once they open that cover and they start reading, if your prose is terrible, they're probably not going to finish your work. They're probably going to get a few pages in. And so I believe that they are both equally important. You can't really have one without the other. Although there are several examples that I can think of just off the top of my head of novels. Although there are several novels that I can think of that have done very well in terms of sales just based off of the content. Although the craft might not be there. So if you're looking to just kind of try and cash in on your writing, which this channel is much more about developing your skills as an author, so I would highly recommend that you focus more on the craft than just trying to think of content. And ideally you should be writing as much as you possibly can, and when you're writing as much as you possibly can, your content's going to improve along with your craft. You're going to be coming up with stronger ideas that you are going to realize over time, that you're going to be able to identify which ideas are novel-worthy ideas, which ideas are actually going to end up being 40,000 plus word manuscripts, as opposed to ones that might fizzle out at 20, 30K, or might never even get close to 40K. But again, there are several examples of very successful novels that I can think of just off of the top of my head that have excellent content that has appealed and attracted many people to pick up and buy and spend money on, but their craft is not there. Books even books that I would even say are not written well, such as the Harry Potter series. I believe, objectively speaking, the Harry Potter series is not well written, nor do I think the Twilight series is well written objectively. Now, yes, both of these series have done extremely well in terms of sales. So again, if you're looking just to try and make money off of writing, which I'm sure a lot of you out there on the internet are just interested in, which is going to give me the best return on investment, return on time, I would highly recommend that you focus in on content. Craft is going to be more so for those of you who want to make a career out of writing, who have long-term ambitions and want to have a long, lengthy career in writing, and you're not looking just to have a one-book flash success. But again, there are so many ways to view writing, and there's so many ways to view good writing. Again, writing is incredibly subjective, just like any art form. It's subjective. I'm sure many people out there would tell me I am wrong, and would in fact say Harry Potter is well written. So if you want to tell me that I'm wrong, do so in the comments. It'll help spread the channel to more viewers out there. But again, thank you so much for watching, and as always, keep it spooky. And of course, here's your writing prompt for sticking all the way through the video. I was sitting down, ready to write my next blank. So set your timer and start writing. Thank you so much.